Welcome back to the Ride and Laugh podcast. If you love mountain biking, you are in the right place. Picture your last really fun group ride. You're back at the parking lot. The Stoke is high. Everyone's talking about the ride, bikes, tech, nutrition, jumps, drops, berms. That's what we do here every week on the Ride and Laugh podcast. You love bikes. We love bikes. Let's drop in. Seiji, how are you today?
Danny, I got the most Lumberjack flannel I got in my arsenal. I'm ready to do this, brother. How are you doing?
Lumberjack is it's a very non-lumberjack way to say lumberjack. I think lumberjack immediately takes you out of the lumberjack. You know what I mean? Like no lumberjack is calling themselves lumberjack. Yeah, you're out. He's dressing the part, but he's not speaking the part. Yeah, you know, it's
certainly not. Yes.
Yeah. You want another go at it? You want to try again at your lumberjack speak?
No, I'm okay being the dainty lumberjack. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The dainty lumberjack. I like it. Oh, that might have to be a new Instagram handle. Yeah. The dainty lumberjack.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We were talking about all the local municipalities that we wish would put in pump tracks and bike parks and dirt jumps, right? And, you know, you were saying how many more, you know, the same basketball and tennis and a pickleball, you know, and the same playground. I mean, around here, it's like I see the same playground over and over and over. You could drive 5 minutes to get to the next playground that's exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, how cool it would be if these local towns would start to put in pump tracks. And it's happening, but slowly.
Yeah.
So I had the thought that we need to start getting some Ride and Laugh candidates to run for mayor of some of these smaller towns.
Oh, yes.
I think we start a movement and you run solely on the fact that you're going to be putting in progressive bike parks, pump tracks, and dirt jumps.
Yes.
That's it.
That's the platform.
That's the platform.
I
know. One term. Give me one term. I'm going to increase the Stoke in this town. We get a Ride and Laugh super PAC, right? We get Ride and Laugh candidates.
Super PAC.
And here's the best part, right? In politics, you have left wing and right wing. Yeah. Our party, perfectly centered.
Wow. I guess we would be quite progressive as well. Oh, but it...
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we're the progressive bike party.
Yeah, progressive bike party. There you go. Bam. I love it.
Yeah. And at the debates, instead of wearing suits, like we just wear like party shirts. You know what I mean? Like
lumberjack.
You know, bike T-shirts or jerseys.
Yeah.
I don't know. The lumberjack party might not take kindly to you showing up for a debate. Yeah. He's not representing us.
He's not.
This guy's never cut down a tree or balanced on a log in a lake.
You know,
what else do lumberjacks do? I love the lumberjack games.
Yes.
The lumberjack games where they're like bouncing on logs, right?
Yes. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Yep.
I don't know what part of being a lumberjack includes bouncing on a log in a lake, but that's like the mountain bike equivalent. The mountain bike skinny equivalent for lumberjacks is spinning on a log in a lake.
Very true. Yes. They had to transport the logs down the river. And that's why, so they would stand on these logs and jump from log to log while they're going down the river. That's why that's part of that competition. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You actually have an answer for this.
Maybe I am
Yeah. You're back in. You just channeled your inner lumberjack. You're like, it's actually quite lumberjacky. The story's quite lumberjacky. You got to hear the whole thing. Wow.
Woo.
Yeah. Somebody watched the lumberjack games and didn't just fast forward to the interesting parts. You actually listened to the history.
I am quite the sucker for a good documentary. So,
What do you think about the Ride and Laugh political party?
I love that.
I think we
idea.
need to start getting candidates.
Yes, come on now.
We got to take the long-term view.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh yeah.
I think what would really be the best thing is instead of us having to get involved in politics to get these things built, is just that someone's already gotten it started, and it's just going to show up. That's the best thing.
Or we're just throwing piles of money at politicians, just like a lobbyist. Right. You know, we're just
not money. What else? I mean. I don't know that we'll be able to compete, you know, with Big Lumberjack, you know, like I don't know that we'll be able to compete with some of the other lobbies, but what does the mountain bike community have that we could throw at a politician, you know, like I think running for office is the better idea. I don't know that we're in the lobby.
No, we're not the, no.
I don't know that we're in a position to lobby.
No.
I think a lot of people would vote. Like if you just came out high Stoke candidate, you just came out and was just like, yeah, we're going to build things for this community to have fun and be fit. I think that would resonate.
I'd like to hear some comments about people that would like to run.
Yeah. Well, if anyone decides to run, and you will get the full backing of the Ride and Laugh podcast and the Ride and Laugh community. So
yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. I was talking about the PSI on my Schwalbe radials, and I wanted to give everyone an update because kind of the last time I talked about it, I had gotten a flat tire and I put in a tube, and because of the tube, I ended up going 5 or 6 PSI higher than I normally would, and it felt good. And I kind of left it there, like, hey, I'm gonna like just go ahead and take the dive and go 5 or 6 PSI higher. And I've been going 5 higher in the front and the rear, and it's good.
Yeah,
it's been working.
Yeah,
the back tire is actually starting to wear out pretty already. It's wearing out pretty quickly. Well, I mean, it's South Mountain, and even Halls. I mean, this terrain just like it really just gobbles up tires. It really does. Yeah, it's so harsh. But you're enjoying it in the winter.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm not riding it in the snow, but yeah, it's been great in all the terrain, the wet, the freestyle, all of it. It's been great. The only thing I haven't done is snow riding in it, and I'd probably take the fat bike. So I probably will never test it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you excited to try the bouncing technique on the fat bike, or do you think that the extra tire volume will affect that? I think you could probably still do it.
Yeah, that is a great question, because part of that bouncing technique, at least for me right now, in the current state that I'm in, is I'm relying on that shock to kind of create some of that. I wonder what it would feel like on a hardtail. Wow, that's a great question, Danny. I don't know.
I mean, we ride hardtails on the pump track, and the bouncing technique is the necessary technique on a pump track, right? Getting light and heavy.
Yeah, it's more of a pump though, right? You're more pumping the trail rather than bouncing on it. When I say bounce, I'm literally like just in an upright position. I'm just bouncing up and down. And now I've kind of incorporated this like J-hop technique to kind of really initiate some more thrust. So that's the new wrinkle. But I guess in that term, the hardtail, it would work on the hardtail. I just don't know enough with this is so new for me, Danny. I'd love to hear if anyone's experimented with that on the hardtail.
Because I kind of saw the bouncing technique as a way to unlock more and smoother pumping of the trail, so that you go from just bouncing to where you're pumping the trail. You're pumping into even like flat corners and features. You're able to really pump over those. So when you talk about the bouncing technique, and then you say that it's not I'm a little confused, because I thought the bouncing technique was to lead to a better pumping of the trail, making shapes on the trail.
And I can understand your confusion, because as you were saying it, I was getting confused. But I guess I'll try and explain it this way. On a pump track, you are pumping the bike. In other words, it's a motion that it's front then back, right? It's front then back. Like you're squishing down the front side of the roller, and then as your back tire is coming down, then you're squishing the back. When I'm bouncing on the trail, it's a very even thing. I'm literally bouncing, putting full force down. It's not the same as on the pump track. Like you would never use what I'm doing on the pump track, because you would hit the roller weird. You know what I mean?
So you really are, when you say bouncing, you really are just like on anything straight or down, you're really just kind of getting that up and down bounce going, even when it doesn't feel like it's necessary at all. You're just constantly bouncing, and then learning as you do that, learning where a bigger bounce is going to turn into a J-hop or pump the trail.
That's right.
That sort of thing. Because I don't think I'm bouncing nearly as much as what you're describing. When I was like, you're telling me what you're doing, it sounds interesting. And I was like, I want to try bouncing on the trail. I don't think I'm bouncing anywhere near to the level that you are. I think I've underestimated your bounce.
Oh, you've underestimated. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to get to Arizona to see how this works on that terrain, because kitty litter is something that's completely, I don't have anything like that around me. I mean, I guess I have sandy terrain in New Jersey, but that's really not the same. Like kitty litter has its own personality to it. And I'm wondering how this will work when I get there. And And I'll be curious to see how it goes. I'm not just using the straightaways are straightaways, and that's where I started with it. But now I'm taking those straightaways. I'm actually kind of widening out the trails, and not to get any trail builders or trail advocates upset, but I'm kind of like going from one side of the trail to the other now. So it's more like a bounce sway from right to left, just to engage my body a little bit more. So yeah, this thing just continues to evolve. The bottom line, Danny, is just have fun. If you're bouncing, then you're bouncing. That's it, and just try and accentuate that more and more and more. And I think that's where you're going to find the pockets of excitement. That's actually a great way to put it. Pockets of excitement. That's what you're looking for.
Oh, well, that's really interesting. It's an interesting gratitude. Everything happens for us. So I was riding at South Mountain with Jeremy and Jeff Windsor.
Nice.
And we decided that we went up Mormon, and then we went to the saddle, and then we're going to rip back down National. And we knew there was going to be a lot of hikers. And so we get to the final, how National Trail is, the downhill is just awesome. It has all these, it's 20 minutes of just tech and fun and all these different features. And, but the final descent down is just this really kind of long, really steep and multiple lines, and the local guys here rip that so freaking fast. And I followed Jeff down this thing a dozen times, but he always loses me almost right away. Because we had all the hikers, there were several sections where he had to slow up. So I was like, oh, this actually works out, because now I'm close to him in sections where I usually can't see him anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now I'm able to follow lines.
Yeah.
On sections that I'm usually oh, he's gone. And there are so many little gaps in there. And I know Jeff's only hitting a fraction of them. I mean, and he's really fast, but following him through there was really interesting. He gapped a couple things that I was like, whoa, I didn't know. He's like, yeah, I just found that one, that are really big. But just a lot, when you were talking about bouncing from side to side in the trail, I thought of this run, because there's a lot of where you're just kind of jumping to the other side of the trail, because it's a little smoother over there. Just these little transfers where you're just getting over to a different line on the trail, and desert riding, especially South Mountain, that's a big deal if you're just riding dirt. But I bet it's applicable a lot if you can just transfer to the other side of the trail with a hop or a jump.
Yes, absolutely, Danny. You got me all excited. I'm thinking about this. I'm visualizing it. South Mountain.
Yeah.
First of all, great sight lines. There are very few spots where you actually can't see someone coming. So you can really open it up here and not feel like you're going to kill somebody. I mean, there are a couple turns you have to be careful. So don't just blindly go into this stuff. But man, from my trail memory, which happens to be pretty good, I can recall a few sections where, my goodness, this technique would really, really help, where you could just jump from one side to the other, either to avoid a patch of rocks or to actually get into a backside of a rock of some sort. Oh my gosh. Oh, Danny, you got me pumped here, bro. Yeah, I can't wait.
That's just magical flow. When you start, you were talking about finding the backside of these rocks to be able to pump down them and get free speed, and the flow that starts to open up when it looks rocky and you get airborne for a split second and it's smooth. When you're able to start, when you see the really fast riders, they're smoothing out this really chunky terrain.
I know.
It looks so fun. And when you start to unlock that a little bit and you touch that a little bit, it's like, oh yeah, this is awesome. This is so cool.
So were you hitting these? Were you doubling what Jeff was doubling?
Not all of them, but a couple of them I did. Yeah.
All right then. Yeah.
I mean, talk about following a rider that you trust. Okay, and then there's just certain sections where I'm not sure what to do, and it's I have to ask him. At this section, are you rolling down that chunky part, or are you just dropping that? Are you treating that like a drop? And there's certain ones where I'm just I'm not sure what to do here, because you're going so fast.
Right. Yeah.
But they're going faster. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm at max speed, but people are definitely going faster. So
yeah, scary.
Yeah. But with that Firebird's a big bike. You know what I mean? It can handle a lot.
Yeah.
It's no wonder I'm breaking spokes. I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
Well, you just said follow riders that you can trust. And that is something that I have been struggling here with, because, I lost you to Arizona. So I'm often solo riding. And it's kind of like tamed out my rides. And I'm like, I'm kind of getting bored of the same lines that I've been doing. I need to like start opening this up. And oh boy, did I channel every ride and laugh, thing that we've been talking about just to do a few of these lines. And it paid off, but man, it's not the same. And I had the opposite experience when I went to Sears on the weekend, where I got to ride with Steve, and a bunch of new riders. And what a difference. Like the comfort level to be able to push your limits when you have other riders around you was, I don't know if dichotomy is the right word there, but the difference between those two rides was very eye-opening, of what I was willing to do and how I felt doing it.
I wonder how much of, because we talked about this a lot, the solo ride and what we're willing to do and comfortable to do versus the group ride or riding with a friend, where you just feel a lot more confident. And I wonder how much of that is actual like logic, like there's someone here if I get hurt, and how much of it is just like vibrationally good vibes, just vibrational. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like the feeling in the air is just like, we got this. There's a momentum there. You don't have to create it on your own. And especially if you're following someone that knows the lines and is comfortable with it, that just like gives you confidence.
That's a really good question. And I think I put a lot more weight into I don't want to get stuck on the mountain by myself. Like usually my rides are very high vibe. And if I'm not feeling it, I just don't do it. I have literally been passing this stuff up because they're high consequence, and I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to be stuck on. It's cold. I don't. I'm far from the car or whatever. Yeah. So, but
yeah, your intuition is just like this. Yeah, this isn't a good idea to do alone.
But the vibes are good, and I was feeling really good. The ride that I did solo at Smedley, I was feeling really good. And so I was like, you know what? Let's do this. You have the skill. If there were people here, you would do it. So I took a chance, and it was a calculated risk. It was a calculated chance, but it worked out. It worked out really well, and it ended up being a really fun ride. I didn't do everything, but I knocked off a few things that on my list that I wasn't doing in the past because I didn't have anybody else. So that was really interesting.
Was it the jump line? Because I saw we share videos in Dropbox, and then I was watching the podcast also, and I saw some new footage of you riding winter in Smedley, and you did that line that includes like 3 drops and then the big giant step up. But was that a line that you were nervous to do by yourself?
Yeah. The drop line on the backside has maybe like a 3.5 foot drop. That's not the scary part. The scary part is the landing is full of roots into a trail gap. And then you hit that, it's high speed down to another jump that you can send as far as you want, and then into a huge step up. And I've been avoiding that line because, man, you hit one of those roots wrong. You hit anything wrong on that, you're going to be rolling down the mountain.
I know that line that you're talking about at Smedley, and we did that. You showed that to me some time ago, and it's pretty big. It's pretty scary.
It's nerve-wracking.
Good for you. Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a lot of moves in there, and they're pretty big jumps too. I remember being pretty stoked when I did it, but I also remember being pretty nervous at the top of that thing.
Yeah, man, this place just continues. That's why my gratitude was to Smedley Builders, because this place continues to evolve. It continues to grow, and I appreciate that.
All right. Well, I do want to hear about the Sears ride. I need to hear about the Sears ride because I saw a video of this, and they added yet another jump to that jump line. But before we do that, let's get into some comments from episode 31, which is stop judging, start progressing, mountain bike mindset, presence, and flow equals the best year yet.
Woo!
And some awesome comments. Dan at Juggernaut MTB, great listener. Always a good comment. And he wrote in, 2025 was a strange year for sure. I've had some really high highs along with a smattering of significant lows, and I wouldn't change a thing because everything happens for a reason. 2026 goals are simple. Lean into the strengths my friends see and let go of the weakness I see in myself. Looking forward to another year with the Hans and Franz of mindfulness, because we did the pump you up bit.
Yeah, man.
But man, I thought Dan's comment just like really kind of like summed up Ride and Laugh New Year. You know what I mean?
It really did. Yeah, letting the thing that stuck out to me was the letting the weakness go. You know, and just focus on the strength, let the weakness go. And that's that pod and the pod before, that was our main topic was letting go of those weaknesses, letting go of that luggage that we're carrying. And that really resonates with me. And I'm glad that it's resonating with Dan as well.
Yeah. I saw a quote that I sent to you on Instagram, and it just like really hit me because I'm such an overthinker. And it said, if you can overthink the worst, why can't you overthink the best?
You know?
And I was just, man, I've just been thinking about that like the last couple of days, you know, like I just like when I start like overthinking it, whether it's about biking or life, you know, or work, something happens and I start overthinking it. And there's just like this negative bias that, but catching it, noticing it, and then just being like, well, if I'm overthinking the worst on that, what would overthinking the best look like?
Yeah.
And then it's just like the whole day changes, the whole mood changes, that moment changes, like just shifting of like, oh no, this is all going to work out. It's going to work out. It's going to be easy. It's all going to go well. Everything always works out for me. I don't need to worry about this. And it's just like a weight lifted. And 2026, man, more of that.
Dude, it's even better than that, right? It's like, that saying to me is taking it's not just like, oh, it's going to work out. It's like, dude, I'm going to be awesome at this. That's what that's saying. The overthinking it means like, dude, I'm going to be awesome. I'm going to be amazing. You know, and I love that. We're not taking like the middle road anymore. We're like, why not?
Right.
Sky's the limit, bro.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. What's the best that can happen? What's the best? What's
exactly
the best that you can ride? If you instead of envisioning like just surviving a trail, just getting through a feature, right? As something that you fell on in the past, like, oh, I just want to be able to ride that. Instead envision like jumping it, you know, hitting it with speed, hitting it, you know, like a pro would hit it, you know, like just supreme confidence. That's what we want to be manifesting. That's what we want to be believing. That's what we're visualizing, and then see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, as we go into these things with like the confidence that we're envisioning.
Yeah, dude. I love that. I mean, I'm picturing that South Mountain Trail again for you, you know, and just like you just crushing this thing, you know, like last time I visited you, you were already faster than me on the downhills. I can't imagine if you unlocked this like bouncing on the trail, you're going to be amazing. So start visualizing that, start like imagining yourself like, yo, Jeff, why don't you follow me? Like, what? You know, like it's going to be great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to ride with Jeff when he's under the weather. Like, oh, yeah.
Don't you do that?
Be so much faster than him.
Don't you do that?
I kid.
That's right.
I kid.
I kid.
That's right. I kid. All right. I made the point that I know some people that ride in t-shirts here. And we got some feedback on that. Both Pat at Rusty Shade and Thomas, one of my riding buddies here, said that they ride in t-shirts. Pat said he rides in TrailSage shirts. So like instant redemption, right?
Absolutely.
If you're going to ride in a t-shirt, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get a Ride and Laugh t-shirt that says, "This is my jersey."
Bam.
And you can ride in it.
Bam.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
This is my jersey. You're welcome. Yeah,
that's right.
I had been on rides with Thomas, and I probably did comment on him riding in a t-shirt because I'm always surprised by that.
Yeah.
But when I made that comment, I wasn't thinking specifically of Thomas. So I just want everyone to know when you're listening to the podcast and I say something, it's not personal.
Sometimes,
unless I specifically say you, right? Unless I say your name. If it's not personal, unless I say your name, then take it personally, of course. Thomas is so damn fast and talented and skilled and steezy, like ridiculous, that, you know, his shirt probably dries in the air as he's flying through these jumps effortlessly.
Exactly.
He's got like a massive BMX background. He's just one of these guys who's just like an animal with the fitness and just natural, the technique. Like, he's an amazing rider. He doesn't need a fancy bike jersey.
Yeah, most people are getting these active tees to wick the sweat. You know, they need to, but like Thomas actually needs to retain that heat. He needs like the cotton. He's riding in like a down jacket. Yeah, like this dude is.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's so fast. Yeah,
yeah. He's ridiculous. He's ridiculously fast and talented, and he can wear whatever he wants on the trail. But all right, you talked about wanting to race in Enduro in 2026. We got a lot of recommendations from Zan at Sploosh and Shelly.
Yeah.
And your response was that you were going to race the single speed over 45 Japanese Heritage Division so that you could podium. I thought that was brilliant.
Pretty genius on my part. Guarantee myself
1 out of 1, I think.
1 out of 1.
What are you feeling as far as a race? Like, you've talked about your competitiveness and that you were a little concerned that you would be overly competitive. Are you leaning towards one of these races? I mean, Shelly threw out some great ideas. Zan was really encouraging of some races that are near him. I think it's gonna be fun for you. I'm curious what your mindset is.
Mindset is just, it's got to be what it's got to be is it's got to be close, because I got to be able to pre-ride it. So if I was, you had mentioned the Enduro, that's like 2.5 hours. Like, I'd have to like get a bed and breakfast, and spend like a week there in order to feel comfortable. That's the thing. Like, I want to be able to pre-ride a trail, really get to know it, so I can figure out where I can bounce and gain more traction here and there, what I can clear, what I have to, all the little nuances. And so it's got to be local for me. I think that's the key. For me, I want to pick something that's close by that I'll be able to be comfortable with. And listen, we're just going to have fun. That's it.
Yeah, having a little familiarity with the trail if you're going to race is, I think, pretty important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would think so.
So Shady also commented, we were talking about dirt bikes, and we were also talking about pads and you not wearing pads. That conversation came up. And Shady, who was a former dirt bike motocross guy, said that there's some high profile motocross coaches that suggest riding with less pads so that movement is not restricted, which I thought was really interesting, because I would think in motocross, like, pads would be even more important. That bike's so heavy. Yeah. Going so fast.
I know. Listen, I don't have any MX experience, so I can't really comment to that. I feel like I probably would wear pads if I raced MX just because of the speed and the weight of the bikes. But yeah, interesting to hear the comment of the coach kind of recommending not.
Yeah. We don't know that he was saying to not wear any pads either. He might have been, like, people may have been getting over padded up. Like, maybe you're wearing so much that you start to restrict your movements. You know, like if you're wearing the collarbone protector and a neck protector and, and all the arms and knees and chest, like, maybe you are getting to a point where, that's what I would want to be in. Yeah. Put me in the bubble. Restrict my movements. That's fine. But yeah, I mean, like, I was watching Mo Awesome's e-bike reviews, and he's riding South Mountain.
Yeah.
And one of the comments on there was, and Mo's doing like gnarly trails, Old Man Trail and Geronimo and Devastator, like these really gnarly downhill trails.
Yeah.
And one of the comments was like, hey, you're a YouTuber, you should be wearing pads as an example. And Mo responded like everyone should, wear what they want to wear. But I didn't notice that he was riding these really gnarly trails without pads until someone actually commented on that. But that's his comfort level. That's just whatever makes you confident.
Yeah, that's a terrible comment, by the way. That first of all, he does not have a responsibility. Yeah. But even if he did,
I know.
It's silly to say that everyone should be wearing pads. Like, you have to do what works for you, and if Mo feels like he is most comfortable without pads, like that's when he rides the best, then that's what you do.
Yeah.
And like, I just think that was a really silly comment. I've seen that kind of stuff on my channel too, because I famously don't wear pads.
You don't wear pads.
I get that comment a lot too. And
do you?
Yeah. And it's like, listen, the example that I'm setting for mountain biking isn't based on pads. Like, I'm trying to listen, we're talking about high vibes. We're talking about Stoke. We're talking about mindset. The rest of the stuff about how you set up your bike or all the gear that you wear or the shoes that you wear, like those are up to you. Like you're going to wear the shoes that make you most comfortable. You're going to set your bike up so that it's personalized for you. And the same has to be said with your riding. If you can achieve the most by being completely padless, then do that. That's what's most important. Yeah.
I remember way back in the day, I remember Charles Barkley saying, I'm not a role model. And he wasn't saying the point that he didn't think kids were emulating him, but like, someone on TV, someone on YouTube, that's not necessarily the role model that people should have. And I don't know, maybe this point's a little bit different because I mean, who's looking at the video and saying, I'm not going to wear pads because Sage isn't wearing pads? Like,
I guess,
I don't know. It just seems maybe it's silly. Maybe we should move on. It's silly.
It's not silly. I do think of myself as a role model in many ways. I do carry the mountain bike flag. I've always felt that with the channel, that I have a responsibility to my audience, but that responsibility isn't to guide people to wear pads. My responsibility is to give you an accurate trail review. My responsibility is to make sure that everyone's having the max amount of fun. You know, whether you wear pads or not, like I know people that don't ride with gloves. Now I ride gloves, but I would never tell somebody else like, dude, you should be wearing gloves. Like, dude, if you're comfortable because you want the feel of the feedback coming back through the bars and the gloves prevents that, then don't. Like, look at Mark Matthews. He's like a professional mountain biker. That dude does no gloves, you know, and there are many people like Mark Matthews, and I would never dream of doing that. But God forbid, why would I leave a comment on Mark's page like, you know, Mark, you should really be wearing gloves. You're a role model for other mountain. Like, it's silly. It's silly.
Yeah. I agree. And the gloves thing is something that I was gonna bring up and talk about because I would never want to ride without gloves. But I do see like pro level riders, including Mark. I just watched his year in review, and he had a crash where he like gashed open his hand, and he turned to the camera and he was like, "This is one of the few times I wish I was wearing gloves."
Yes, I saw that.
You know, but yeah, I don't understand. We'll have to get into that in a different one. I don't understand like the no gloves thing. I feel like don't these guys get sweaty hands?
That's the problem for me. Like personally, my hands start to slip off. I don't wear gloves that have padding. Like I don't, you know, like some gloves.
No, me either.
Right. I want as close to real feel that I can get, but I'm slipping off my bars, you know, my grips without the gloves. So listen, they're not having a problem slipping off. Then I'd rather be barehanded. Yeah. Like I want that feel, you know?
I do like the protection of if I put a hand down that there's a glove there. I do like that as well. I do like even though it's minimal.
Yeah, but you're not going to go down in 2026. So it's kind of a waste. You know, it's just, it's a couple extra grams now. Yeah.
All right. Dude, I got to hear about this ride at Sears with the extra jump lines. Last time I was there, we did the full carpet line, which was 4 jumps, and the last jump was mega. And we looked at it and it was scary, but everything went really smooth. It was so well built. And then I'm looking at Steve at Ben Spoke's Instagram, and I see that they've built another jump. They've extended the line, and this one comes at as a turn into it. And I saw that they were kind of struggling with it.
Yeah.
So you went like even Steve, like they were struggling at getting it clean. Tell me about the Sears experience and your insights, what you've learned.
I tell you what, Steve was doing his best to make me scared of the jump. He's like, only 2 people have cleared it on the analog bike, and they cased it. Both of them cased it. And I was like, oh, geez. And I let the day progress the way it was supposed to progress. I didn't think about it. And then we warmed up the way that we typically warm up on that downhill line, which is, again, getting bigger and bigger. Like these jumps are just so good. They're so buttery smooth. It's the perfect way to stack the wins.
That has the
creek gap.
The line that has the creek gap at the I mean, that is a crazy warm up. That is
it's crazy, but
I would say kind of an advanced trail, but that's the warm up. These guys are such accomplished jumpers that, you know, that's what's there. Yeah.
But you have to admit that as crazy as that is, that creek gap does send it's effortless. Like if you don't touch a brake, it does the work for you, right?
It is. Yeah. It is. Everything there is so well built. Those guys are awesome. They love building trails. They love jumping, and they just get so stoked. And like everything's big and everything's gapped, but it's also like trail speed. Trust it. You know, go a little bit faster than you think you need to go. But yeah, it is really fun. It is really fun. And they're not lippy jumps. We've talked about this before when we talked about Sears, but for anyone new to the podcast, this is a place in New Jersey. It's where they're building, they're pretty much ramp jumps, but they're all gapped. They're all big. They get bigger. Every time we go back, they're either longer or taller. They just get bigger and bigger. And, you know, it's for Sage and I that just like started like getting comfortable in the air and jumping, a year or 2 ago. And and learning different types of jumps and everything like that, like Sears is a pretty intimidating place.
Well, I think the thing that makes it the most intimidating is the backsides. The landings are all hard edged. You know, like in Arizona, you'll have a double that's a gap, but it's rarely a hard edge. Like there's usually a case pad of some sort that's kind of rounded over. There's no round over. I mean, you're literally, if you case this, your back tire is going to go into the edge of a log. Like it's harsh. So you have to clear it. That does add
like a 90-degree. It's like a 90-degree angle. Like it's a corner. Yeah. Like it could blow up a wheel. It could certainly send you, off the bike. And like you would definitely err on the side of
over
going further.
That's right.
But that also means to committing to speed and committing to boosting and all the things that we tend to like shy away from as newer jumpers. It's like, no, you need to overcommit, not undercommit.
Exactly. So, that does add to the intimidation factor. So I think it probably scares a lot of people away. And like you said, there's not really a warm up there. They used to have like tables, at least little ones here and there, or smaller gaps. And now you start off with a 14, 16 foot gap. That's the smallest one they have. Like, enjoy, it's like, as you were saying, that's a heck of a warm up, but it works. It's
like going to the store and, all they have is too big. Like, don't you have anything smaller? No. All we have is the expert level. Yeah. You can't get anything. Right. You can't get anything simpler. You have to start with the expert level. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can only get a 22-ounce steak. You can't get a little like 6-ounce filet. You know what I mean? Like, no, you have to get the porterhouse.
That's it. All or nothing. Enjoy.
And you got to finish it.
Yeah, that's right.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
But there's nothing left on this plate but gristle and fat.
I know.
Got to finish it.
Yep, that is Sears. That is Sears in a nutshell. So after that Creek Gap line, he took us over to the new Cannon, that drop to Cannon. I think you and I rode that. That's the one that had the 24-footer at the very end, the big gap jump.
Okay, that was closed last time I was there, I think. Right.
And it's still quasi closed. They're redoing that 24-footer. They're going to make it even bigger now. So that was closed, but
of course.
Yeah. Of course. But they moved the drop and they moved the Cannon, and now you've really got to press for it. It was challenging for me because I like to rely on speed. And if you overdid the drop, then you couldn't catch the backside to get the Cannon now. So you really had to, it's a timing based move now, which I really struggled with. And I cased it pretty hard the first time, but thankfully I got it the second time. I think that pumping technique actually really helped there, because I was just like really engaged and like compressing into the backside of into the front side of that Cannon. It's trust.
So these features are really close together, if I recall correctly. So when you talk about going off of the drop and catching the backside, like you have to hit that at the exact speed to get a little bit of backside before going right into the Cannon that needs a fair amount of speed. There's not really like room to pedal, right? Like you're kind of just flowing through these things like bam, bam. It's very, very quick. And then when you say that you cased it, was that not a hard edge?
The Cannon is not a hard edge.
That was an actual.
Yeah. That's actually landing. Dirt.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't come up short, but like a small little case isn't gonna hurt anybody. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you didn't feel great on that, but it didn't sap your confidence.
I hit that one and immediately realized I could clean that up. Like you either do a feature and you're like, I can clean that up, or you're like, dude, I don't want to hit that ever again. Those are the two options, and I finished that one and I was like, I got that. I absolutely have it. I know where I can pick up a stroke or I can compress more, and just immediately went up and did it again. We call that cementing that in. If you're new to mountain biking, you want to cement a feature in. So I went right back up, immediately got it done. What makes these hard, Danny, is I don't like to follow people through stuff like this unless I really trust them and they ride the way that I do. And like for instance, I can't follow Nick. Like Nicky Shreds, that dude's a booster. He boosts. Like he is so talented in the air, but I like to kill everything with speed. So the difference between, like, I can't follow him down the line because I'm not getting any information. You know, like if I rode at his speed, I would be casing. So
he's going slower and somehow getting higher. Like the physics of it. He's putting so much input into the jump, and these are ramp jumps. And the dude still like gets another 8 feet than us. It's unbelievable how high he goes.
It's so good. I know. He's so good. But yeah, so we eventually we made it over that carpet line, and I just sat at the top. We did like the run. We did the traditional 4 jumps, which are by the way, I'm making it sound like it's no big deal. The 4 jumps are a big deal. Like they are the smallest gap really there is like. Yeah, the smallest gap there has got to be like 18 feet, something like that. They're big. They're really big. But like in my head this whole time, I'm like, if I hit that 4th one and I catch it right, I'm just going to go for it. I didn't have any video to look at. I didn't have anybody to follow. I didn't see anybody do it. You know, Steve gave me a little bit of advice because he had hit it before. He said, look, I cased it, but here's what it feels like. Here are the problems. And I didn't necessarily block those out, but I knew in my head what I wanted to do. Like I was very thankful that Steve was giving me that information, but I started honing in on how I wanted to tackle that jump. And I think that's important. You know, as a rider, you have to know what your strengths are, right? And how you ride. You know, Steve's another great example because he's such a good rider. Like he's such a good jumper. If you watch this guy, everything he does is precise. He doesn't overshoot a jump. He never undershoots a jump. It's just always perfect. But that perfection makes me nervous. Like I don't know that I could follow Steve. And when I do follow him, I'm always like, can you go a little bit faster than you normally do? Because I'm not comfortable hitting it perfect. If something goes wrong, I don't want to ever be caught short. But also the lines that Steve takes are a lot of times different than the lines that I would take. We're just different riders. So I'm taking his advice, I'm listening, and I'm taking what I want from it, but I'm also trying to think about how, if he wasn't here, how would I be hitting this jump? You know, and I just put that visual in my head and I said, if I got 4, just go for 5. And man, I landed 4, I put 2 strokes in and man, sent 5, no problem. Didn't even case it, bro. Just hit that thing like butter. Oh, and I tell you what, everybody there cleared 5 that day. Like no problem. It was just like,
And you were first.
I'm pretty sure I guinea pigged it that day for everybody. I mean, Steve had already done it, and he told me somebody else had already done it on an analog bike. On the e-bike, it's no problem. Like you're carrying so much speed, it's not an issue. But the analog is the issue. I think also the ground was frozen, and that helped a lot because it wasn't fresh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. You don't get you didn't slow down in mud or freestyle or peanut butter. Like frozen ground is very fast. When we ride in the winter and the ground's frozen, you can set PRs. Like frozen ground is some of the best speed and traction you will find if you get like really good frozen dirt. So that's really interesting. But it looks like the challenge of 5 was that the first 4 are very straight on, and then 5 it looked like you had to come out of a little bit of a turn.
That's right,
and then hit it.
Yeah.
And so the lines that Steve was telling you about were not the lines that you were envisioning, and to be able to say to yourself, "Okay, here's a guy I trust, and here's this advice, but I saw what I need to do." And so to be able to take that in, but also not be able to say, well, I can only do it that way. I'm going to do it my way. I see it, and have that confidence in your ability. Skills are in there. Unlock that. Like you're flowing, you're feeling good. I know that if I can carry speed into this, then I'm going to clear it. That's awesome, man. That is like next level stuff.
Yo, thanks, Danny. It felt really good. You know, that turn in does add an element of trickiness, but I actually took that out. I actually used the advice that Chris at Mount Penn to get me over 3. I straightened that jump out. You know, I took the turn out of that jump at Mount Penn. Yeah, on Skyline.
Mount Penn, you're talking about Shelly's son, Chris. There's 5. There's what we call the big 5 tabletop jumps. Jump number 3 is the most intimidating looking. And Chris's advice to you was, because it's kind of slanted, you can take the big side or you could take the short side. And he said, just cut it off. Take the short side. So you were able to angle the turn.
He said, hit it straight. No, he said, don't, he said, think of the jump.
Oh, don't even think about it. Don't think about the big side or the little side. Just hit it straight. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was the best advice because it just took the intimidation factor completely out. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do when I get in the air? And how do I make this turn? He's like, just hit it straight. And I did. And my body.
Right. Because that one's on a little bit of a turn. I got you. Okay.
It's totally on a turn. Yeah. Yeah. And, I did that same thing on this Sears jump. I just took a look at it and I said, forget the berm. Like, I don't even want to think about the berm. I hit the outside and cut back in so that I almost straight lined, and I'm hitting this jump slightly at an angle, but man, it just took the turn out of it. And I could focus on just actually boosting or creating a little extra lift on that jump. And it solved everything for me, man. I felt really good about it. And then, consequently, everybody did it that day. So I think it had more to do with the ground being hard, everyone's, I think Steve and all those guys, they would have cleared it. If they had the terrain that I had, they would have cleared it all with no problem. I don't think that there was anything special about anything that I did. What I thought was special was I was able to block out the noise. The old me would have heard Steve say that, oh, only 2 people have cleared this on an analog bike. It's really hard. And I'd have been like, well, I'm out. I don't even look at it. I don't know nothing. New Sage was, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to Steve, but I had to block some of that noise out. I said, okay, who cares about what other people have done? You're not those people. You're a different rider. What do you think? I had to look at this with fresh eyes. I said, what do you think when you look at this? And it was immediately positive.
Wow.
And it was like, okay, build your line. And I built my line. I found my straight line and I found my technique, what would work for me. And I think that's what I want to convey to people. Find out what that is about yourself. What is your strength? And how can you maximize that when you get to a feature? You had talked about carrying other people's luggage. This was a great opportunity for me to carry Steve's luggage. Like these stories of like people casing it. And this is a really hard jump. Sage, the success level is very low here.
Right.
Do you want to carry that? Do you want to, is that how you want your day to go? And I said, I didn't want that to be the reason why I didn't do the jump.
That's awesome. That's great. I love the callback to the previous episodes where we talked about carrying luggage, and that to a lot of people, myself included, that would probably be like, okay, that's a pretty good reason for me to say I'm not going to do it today. And you could have done that, but you just stayed open. Let me look at this and get my eyes on it. And look at this line. This looks good. I think I can hit. I think if I hit this here and this feels good, I got this. Yeah. I don't need to carry someone else's luggage. Yeah. And then what did you do? You cleared it and you created positive luggage, right? You carried positive things for everyone. And so you flipped the whole story on its side. You flipped it upside down. Point. From no one's hit this to like we're all hitting this now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome stuff, dude. I'm so stoked for you. And the riding with the Sears guys is so much fun. Those guys are so high stoke and such good riders. So that's a really great story. There's so much there to dig into. I'm looking forward to listening back to this and getting even more of the gems and the knowledge that you were dropping there and the insights and following up with it. Because I think there was a lot of really interesting stuff there.
Oh, thanks, Danny.
Let's get into our gratitudes, mountain bike gratitudes of the week.
Yes.
I will go first.
All right.
And this is I'm not exactly sure how to get into this, but I'm just going to say it's intuition. I'm just going to say it's intuition. I listened to intuition. I woke up. It was a Saturday morning.
Okay.
And I was going to ride at Halls with the guys, and I was going to ride again on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I woke up Saturday morning. And I just thought, I just didn't feel like I should go on this group ride.
Okay.
And I talked to my daughter, Summer, who, in the summer, we haven't been on bikes because it's so hot here. And for the kids, for me to drag them over to the trail at 5:30 in the morning, it's not really a feasible thing. If you don't love mountain biking, if you're just dabbling in mountain biking because your dad likes it, you know what I mean? Like getting up at 5:30, 4:45 is, but the weather's cooled off. And Summer, we've gone on a couple hikes and she mentioned that she would like to go mountain biking at Papago, which is a little park here. They're mostly hiking trails, but she says she would like to go mountain biking at Papago again.
Yeah.
And before I left on this group ride, she was awake. I popped my head in and I said, what do you think you want to go to Papago? You want a mountain bike? She's like, oh, I would love that. And so, and her sister actually came with us, and she hasn't been mountain biking a little bit. And my oldest Ella, she's 14. She's got like a nice new 27.5 hardtail mountain bike. Yeah. But, she was just so excited to get through a little gully, to get up to the top of a climb. There was one, and all these climbs are just small, punchy climbs, but there was one climb where she stood up, and standing is kind of like being comfortable standing is kind of a new thing for her. She stood up and just powered up the top of the hill and just felt like she was just glowing afterwards. She was like, that felt so good. Did you see me stand up and just crush that hill, Dad? Yeah. And then at one point we come to this like kind of like washy looking downhill. And it was going from trail to trail. It wasn't the actual trail. It was like in between. And this place has a lot of little rocks and sand because it's hiking. And I said, I think you can ride that. And she stares at it and stares at it and stares at it. And she turns to me and she says, I think I'm overthinking this. I'm in my head. I think I stared at it for too long. And I was like, okay, we'll just walk it. And so she walks a section, and I turned around and I said to her, I said, that was a very mountain bike thing to say. Like that was you didn't hear that anywhere, but that's mountain bike terminology. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I stared at it too long. I'm in my head about it. Like if I just rode it, I'd be fine, but I'm in my head and I decided, and I'm going to walk. And I just chuckled because I was like I said, you sound like a mountain biker. But, we finished the first loop and she wanted to go back out. Like Ella was done. Summer wanted to go back out. She wanted to do a couple more climbs, a couple more downhills. And she was just stoked, and it was so cool. It was just really cool to see her start to get excited about something that I love so much. We'll see where it goes. I never put any pressure on my kids. No. But it was cool, and that day wouldn't have happened if I didn't just listen to my intuition of like, you know what? See if the kids want to ride. And it was like an awesome day.
Yeah. What I love about that story is, first of all, congratulations, Summer, for kicking rear end. Like, that's awesome. I know that biking doesn't come naturally for her like it does for Ella. So for her to like even stand up on the pedals and be able to crank up this stuff and just like, that's so awesome. So congratulations, Summer. That's amazing. What I love about the story is like, and we talk about this a lot, but like, we often forget like all the little things that like used to trip us up, that we kind of take for granted now, like a little, and I'm saying little in quotes, a little hill to us seems like a big mountain to them. And I forget being in that spot, and it's like hopefulness. You see that in your children of just like, oh my gosh, look at them get this, and you're just so excited for them, and they're excited too. So that's awesome that you got to experience that again. It's awesome that they got to remind you that we're not all expert riders, that we all started somewhere, and for them to succeed is a great feeling as a parent.
Yeah, it really is. And you bring up some great points, and I love it with my kids. I also love it with the whole mountain bike community. Like anyone that like wants to try something new, and you bring up such an excellent point about things that we just start getting good at and then we just take it for granted. Yeah. There was things certainly on South Mountain, like the Bermuda Triangle, both up and down, to be able to get up onto that alt line rock and climb it, and then to get up on that alt line rock and go down it. Those are things that last year at some point I was like, I can't do that. And now it's kind of routine. It's just, and so you like, you just gotta like, it's that zooming out of perspective. Look at what we've done, like always putting the pressure on to be like, now I can do that. What's next? Now I should be able to gap onto it, like, and all this kind of should like, hey, just enjoy the ride, see what happens, and celebrate all these little wins, and always appreciate all those little wins. And to see someone at the very beginner level appreciate all these little wins and start to build confidence, it's just like, yeah, this is what it's about. It's awesome. And yeah, just mountain biking, sports in general, mountain biking is our sport, but to see the progression and the Stoke level, but especially to see it in my girls, and especially in Summer in this case, to really be excited and fired up about anything. I love seeing my kids excited about anything, but mountain biking, of course, is special because I love it so much.
Yeah, I'll say one more thing, and then I'll get into my gratitude. We had talked about becoming role models, or are we role models? And those are the things that I think about when I think about being a role model for this community. Like, I don't want to forget perspective. You know, we often focus on the big features that we just talked about Sears, right? These big gap jumps, right? But the things that we talk about are actually, all those techniques are actually relatable to anything that you're doing. You know, the mindset stuff that we're talking about is applicable whether you're doing a 50-foot gap jump or a tiny little tape. And I said the word tiny, that's not right, but like a small table or a skinny, like all of these things are completely relatable. And I don't ever want to lose that perspective of, look, not everybody's doing a 50-foot gap jump, but what can I take away from Sage's experience, Dan's experience, from our listeners' experience that I can relate to the kind of riding that I'm doing, you know? So, that's all I'll say about that. I just think that is our job as role models.
I love that. And, you know, just to add to that a little bit, the language that I was using with Summer getting up and down these little hills and going over some of these little gullies was the same exact language I would use with any of my riding buddies who were trying a feature that, you know, either I have done or haven't done, but it, you know, it's very high level. It's the same exact language of, I think you got this. Keep your eyes up, stay centered, stay positive, like, you know, just go with confidence, keep them rolling. It's the same language from very, very new beginner to high level expert. And everything in between. So it's awesome. Mountain biking is awesome. We love it.
Well, my mountain bike gratitude is a very, very short one, but it's a very important one. And that is every year for the new year, I get a new hard drive. And it's something that I do take for granted. I never think about because these things have become so fail proof. Not like when I grew up on computers. Like these things are absolutely awesome. Big shout out to Lacie. There are many hard drive companies. I use these portable RAID hard drives. What does it have to do with mountain biking? This is what holds all the footage for Ride and Laugh, TrailSage, all of it. This is my lifeline. Aside my laptop, these are my lifelines. I have like 16 of these bad boys, and every year has its own hard drive. And so for 2026, I have a new hard drive. Let's do this. This thing is ready to capture some awesome memories, Danny. It's going to be awesome. I'm just going to write Stoke on it. That's it. 2026 Stoke. Yeah.
Let's fill it up. I love it.
That's right.
I love it. We got to fill it up with, Yep.
Yes,
we got some good high Stoke files to download into that. Absolutely.
Hot. Yes.
I can't wait. Do you have a mountain bike tip of the week?
I do. It's actually your tip that I actually had to chop off of last week's episode because our episode went so long. So I'm going to steal your tip. It's a very short one, and that had to do with the shock pump. You had talked about
my tip is not short. Just for the audience.
So you would know.
I just want the audience. Strike that from the record. My tip is not short.
Jeez Louise.
It was a long, very involved tip.
Very healthy
Beautiful
tip.
Best tip.
That's right. Yes.
Some people say it's the greatest tip ever.
You know what? It is a pretty darn good tip. The part that I cut off from you last week was
my tip got circumcised. Sorry. All right, I'm done.
Actually, it did. Yes, actually very appropriate.
Yes, you cut off my tip.
Quite appropriate. Yes. Anyway,
quite inappropriate.
Anyway, when you said you fill up your shock, you always add 10 more psi than the recommended amount because when you release the shock pump from the valve, you lose a little bit of air. You'll get that pss, and you did the math and you figured out that 10 psi was the exact amount over. So figure out what your shock pump requires, pump it to that, and then give it 10 more.
8 to 10.
Yeah, 8 to 10. Give it,
I would say 8
to 10 more psi, and that'll give you the perfect amount when you unscrew it. That is the mountain bike tip. Thank you, Danny. And I'm sorry that I circumcised your tip last week.
That's okay. I would prefer if you asked me like next time, is it okay? Yeah. Are you comfortable with this? That's kind of a big deal. Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal.
Luckily, my tip was so long that I had room to spare, so it was okay.
That's true. Yes.
My wife says, thank you. That tip was way too long. This is kind of a
wildly inappropriate.
Sideways inappropriately. Yeah. It's yes. Okay. Well, excellent stuff, man. Fun as always. We didn't really ask for too much listener feedback, but anything that you heard that you want to comment on, YouTube comments, Ride and Laugh 1 at Gmail. And we didn't really have any specific questions here, did we? for our listeners.
No, you're right. We didn't. Yeah. I'm sure that we probably raised a lot of questions. So feel free to ask.
All right. Yeah. Let us
How
know
long
what
is Dan's
questions.
tip? Yeah.
Now they know why I'm going through chamois cream so fast. The things are starting to make sense.
That's right. That's right.
I like this bit. This is a good bit.
Oh yeah, for you, sure.
I don't want to set any unrealistic expectations, but you know, who's gonna know? All right, everybody. Well, I hope that you enjoyed the episode, and I hope that the end wasn't too spicy there. But we appreciate everybody. Thank you for listening. Make sure to rate and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to set your podcast player to auto download. Leave us a review on Apple. Tell your friends. We accept super thanks. It's going to be an awesome year of riding. Have a great week and a great week of riding. We appreciate you. Ride and laugh.
I'll see you, everybody.